Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome in right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours because you already know Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. We are so excited to be back on this Monday to, of course, recap everything we saw in Week 13. Everything, Adam? I mean, it wasn't great. There's better days ahead. Let's just say that. How you doing? How's it going? How's Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good, especially since
Oh,
my Cowboys had a nice W against the
yeah.
Chiefs. So yeah, Thanksgiving was good. Yesterday was not as good. I mean, we kind of knew
Yesterday
looking at
stunk.
that slate that it wasn't going to be a good one, and it certainly wasn't. There were a lot of low scores, a lot of disappointing performances, and yeah, at least next week looks a lot better. But yeah, it was definitely underwhelming yesterday.
It was horrible. It was awful. I was trying to find, you know me. I'm trying to find the bright side of everything. I was like, Davante. I don't know if he maybe he helped a lot of people. That was something. I mean, even it started off like Dontavian Wicks getting 28 fantasy points on Thursday. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then we just AD Mitchell, Devon Vele. I mean, Marcus Mariota put up 23 fantasy points. What are we doing? They just said whatever. Week 13. We're gonna
Yeah,
get crazy.
so many quarterbacks threw for less than 200 yards. AD Mitchell was the only receiver yesterday to get 100 yards. I mean, Zach Ertz had 106, but wide receiver, the only one yesterday was AD Mitchell. So, yeah, it was one of those weird Sundays.
Yeah, it was weird. I went and just got leftovers. That's all I did all day. I was just going back and forth because to me, and I had this debate with someone. Leftovers I take for a week. Thanksgiving leftovers? Would you eat them for a week or no?
Maybe it depends on what it is. I don't
Like
have any
turkey,
left.
gravy, stuffing?
Yeah, I guess you could.
Okay,
You had that
you're
much food,
judging.
huh?
Oh, so much food. Yes, so much food. And then you make sandwiches with it. That's the best part. Okay, all right.
No, it
You don't
is. I
like
mean,
it.
again, I don't have any left now, so I can't say a
I'll send you
week.
some. How about that?
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
sh-
I'm sure it'll be great by
I'll
the
put it
time it
on
gets here.
ice and you'll get it in 7 to 10 business days and it'll be fantastic. No, but we are yeah, we're breaking down everything. It was a weird, like Adam said, it was a weird Sunday, but we're breaking it down. I've got my waiver wire article live at fantasylife.com that you guys can go and check out. Adam has his one thing we learned from every week 13 game also live at fantasylife.com. Both of those 100% free. Should we just start with how we ended yesterday? Broncos beating the Washington Commanders. That was a thrilling game, though, and I did not expect it to go the way that it did. But Denver eventually, in overtime, beat the Commanders 27-26. We have to check on Ani. Have you checked on producer Ani? Is he okay?
Nah,
Probably
I
not.
think it should be fine. I mean, what are the expectations right now for
Well,
Washington?
that's true. I mean, look, Bo Nix passed for 321 yards. Denver won its ninth straight game, maintained this two-game lead over the Los Angeles Chargers in the AFC West, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Marcus Mariota was dealing though. We cannot let that. We cannot pass that up. He finished with 294 passing yards. They obviously dropped to 3-9, lost their seventh straight game, but they put up a fight. They put up way more of a fight than I expected. So it's kudos on both sides for the Denver Broncos winning this one and continuing their win streak. But on the other side, for Marcus Mariota and this team to to kind of get to the best of the Denver Broncos defense. That was fun.
Yeah, and you saw the return of Terry McLaurin, and he played well in this game. And I'm sure a lot of people might not have played him because they did say he could be limited in this game and was also going up against a tough Denver defense with Patrick Surtain back.
Yep.
And it really didn't matter for McLaurin. He had 14 targets in this game, 7 for 96 and a touchdown. So that was a good sign in his first game back. A lot of times people just want to wait, see what happens at first. Again, and it was a tough matchup, and he delivered. I don't imagine many people are using Mariota, but if you did, I mean, massive game with 294,
Yep.
2 touchdowns, and led them in rushing with 55 rushing yards. So, yeah, they put up a good fight and then obviously went for two to try and win it in overtime, which they should have done. And they had a play. It was wide open, and Nick Bonito batted the pass
He said,
away.
no, not
Yeah.
today.
So Denver just keeps winning these close games. I mean, they don't dominate, but all their last few victories have been 3 points or fewer in four straight. 3 points or
That's
fewer. And then
crazy.
they have 4 points or fewer in 6 of the last 8 games.
It's the sixth time this season they've played in a game decided on the final play. It's just and they keep winning. So there's not like we can poke holes all we want in this Denver Broncos team. And I know I was texting you yesterday because I was like, what am I missing here? Because Bo Nix, to start the game, and we could talk about his quarterback play, everything else. But at the end of the day, they keep winning these games, and so it's kind of like how people are starting to now come around and talk about the Bears. Like we can say, can they keep winning this way? And they've proved that they're going to do that. So at some point, you just have to look at Denver and say, all right, well, in the fourth quarter when they need him or in overtime, Bo Nix is going to step up. He's ninth in the NFL in EPA per dropback in the fourth quarter and in overtime this season. It's like it feels just like the more heighten the stakes, the more he is just in control and steady, and he just kind of leads them. And so this was another game where you said, I looked at some of the fantasy scores. I mean, RJ Harvey though had, it wasn't necessarily pretty, but RJ Harvey finished with 21.2 fantasy points. He got it done on the ground, 13 carries, 35 yards. He also got it done through the air. Not necessarily pretty, but he got you those points.
Yeah, and at least they gave him some goal line carries. I think that
Yeah.
was the key that we didn't see the first game without J.K. Dobbins. They still are rotating that backfield, which is really frustrating. If you do have Harvey, he played most of the snaps. He had 33, but Tyler Bidet had 18, McLaughlin 13. So
Yeah.
that's the only part there. But Harvey did get the bulk of the touches, so that's definitely a good sign going forward.
They haven't been very good without J.K. Dobbins, or it hasn't been easy, I should say, since J.K. Dobbins has left. Because when he went down with that foot injury, week 10, I believe is week 10 was the last time it was we saw him, and he was fifth in the NFL, 772 rushing yards. He was kind of that constant in that offense, and now it's kind of a little bit sporadic, and it just doesn't feel like they get going very much. So that's kind of something that we can look to this team. But again, yeah, Denver Broncos won this one. I don't know, Marcus Mariota, maybe he's streamable. Did you start him? No, you had Bryce Young, who gave you a day
Yeah, no,
in
I
quarterback
actually
leagues.
I thought about Mariota in a league,
Yeah.
but I didn't go with him.
No, because they were playing the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
Why
it was
would
a
you
tough
why
matchup
would you
on
do
paper.
that? But yeah, that was a fun one to watch last night. Again, the Denver Broncos were able to pull that one off 27-26. We'll have to check on. We'll check on producer Ronnie in the break. See what he's up to here. The other one that we just had to get to this morning, the Carolina Panthers. Hello. As a Seahawks fan, Adam, pumped. Absolutely. I was standing up. I was cheering. I was like, let's go, Panthers. Even though I wrote them off because I took them weeks ago in Survivor and they absolutely killed me. But the Carolina Panthers handed the Los Angeles Rams a loss on Sunday, 31-28. It was back and forth. Puka Nacua came down with that amazing catch, and the Panthers were able to snap the Rams' six-game winning streak, keep their playoff hopes alive. I think in this one, Adam, for me, I saw Matthew Stafford and I said, "Oh, okay, there he is. He is actually human this year." I don't think we're going to get that every single year. We know that these quarterbacks, fantasy players, always have their down games, like we saw with a couple other guys that we'll talk about here. But yeah, I couldn't believe what Carolina Panthers team we were watching yesterday.
Yeah, the Panthers are a weird team to
They're
figure
so
out
weird.
because you just don't know what you're getting from them on a week to week basis. There's times that Bryce Young looks good, and there's times he looks awful. This was one of his better games. And in order to get an upset like this, you need turnovers. And that's exactly what they got. They got two interceptions. Stafford fumbled late, and the Panthers did not turn the ball over. So anytime you have that recipe, that's how you can pull off the upset. And that's what the Panthers did. And a huge win for them. They're still battling for the division and a signature win for them. And this is how it goes. Like I think I saw something last night. It said, whatever team has been favored to win the Super Bowl over the last few weeks, they lose that week. So
That's
Rams are the
crazy.
latest team who were the favorites coming to the week, and they lose, which goes to show you there are no dominant teams in the NFL. We don't even know who's good because one week we
No.
declare this team is very good, and the next week they look like garbage or lose to an inferior team.
It's kind of fun right now, though, don't you think? I don't remember a season ever being like this where it's so, in some cases, wide open, and I just say I don't really know what's going to happen here. And so I think this is a really fun year because you just said it. We don't who's going to the Super Bowl? Who's a dominant team that we say, oh yeah, punch their ticket. We already know. Go ahead and head back. They're going to be dominant in the playoffs, and then we'll see them in wherever it is, Santa Clara this year in California. Like I don't have that team anymore. It was the Rams, and I still think it is the Rams for me, but yeah, when you lose like that to the Panthers, you take a step back a little bit.
Yeah, I think I would still lean the Rams if I had to pick someone, but again, I think anyone could be beaten. I mean, it's wild right now. I mean, So the 1 seed in the NFC has 9 wins. The 7 seed in the NFC has 9 wins.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. The Cowboys. That's what's going to happen, Adam.
They just
Cowboys.
need, the
Cowboys make a
problem
run.
is they need so much help. They have to basically win out, and even if they do that, there's no guarantee they get in because they can only get to 10 wins right now.
Yeah.
No, 11. They can get to 11. And San Fran has 9. The Packers have 8. They tied the Packers. The Seahawks have 9. It's going to be tough. They just have no margin for error. And I mean, I guess they could still win the division if Philly collapses.
Which, I mean, that's on the table, to be totally honest with you.
And the Phillies get the Chargers Monday night, and we don't know the status of Justin Herbert, who needs surgery on his left hand. And then they play the Raiders. You really think the Eagles are going to lose to the Raiders?
No, but you know,
then they get the
stranger things have
Commanders.
happened.
They get the Commanders twice. Now, Commanders showed fight yesterday. Maybe Jaden Daniels comes back. So I don't know. There's still a long way to go. 5 games to go. But yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are playing great football right now. They probably look like a playoff team, but they just need so much help to get in.
I mean, this is a huge Thursday night game. It's Thursday, Cowboys at the Lions. You should just fly. You should just fly over there and go to that game.
It's in Detroit.
Do it. Yeah. Get out there. Start driving.
I'm not going.
No. Start driving right now. You'll make it. It'll be fine. No, it's going to. I mean, their end of season schedule isn't. We'll talk about it, but it's not awful. I mean, the Vikings after that, the Chargers, the Commanders, and then you finish out with the Giants. I don't know. There's some hope there. I'll have the hope for you. How's that?
No, there is definitely hope, but they need a lot. It's not only in their control. That's the problem.
No, for sure.
They're going to need some help along the way, or just win out. So at least it's in their control in a way in terms that, hey, they just got to win their games.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, losing some of those games early in the year really hurt right now.
Yeah, but the defense has turned it around a little bit. You got George Pickens balling out, like we said. You got CeeDee Lamb balling out. I don't know. It's been kind of fun to watch. We're gonna talk a little bit more about them. But the last one I just needed to hit off the top here. Not even. It's an overreaction Monday. This isn't an overreaction. You can't start any Minnesota Viking player the rest of the way. I mean, Aaron Jones went down with an injury. We have to wait and see what that's going to look like. Even then, Jordan Mason didn't come away with big fantasy point days. And Justin Jefferson, I mean, for as much as we always say he is quarterback proof, and I still believe that. Sorry, Brosmer, you were not the answer in his first career start. I mean, 26-0, the Seattle Seahawks dominated the Minnesota Vikings. They didn't even need to do much. So it was the Seahawks' first shutout victory since 2015. You got nothing from Jackson Smith-Njigba just because they intercepted Brosmer 4 times. They returned 1 for a touchdown, sacked him another 4 times, and the defense was the star of the show for the Seahawks. And this was just not a great look for Brosmer. Brosmer. As I said before we left on Wednesday, I think it was. I said it couldn't get worse, right? Wrong, Adam. Surprise, it could get worse. That was horrible.
It got way worse. But again, though, like, what did we expect? You're asking him to make his debut on the road in Seattle. I mean, you weren't going to get a good performance. So tough to judge. Obviously, he made that stupid decision on the pick six. And Seattle's defense in one league gave me 32 points.
Nice. Yeah, I have them in our winner's circle that we're talking about later in the show because I was looking at whoever had them. Of course, in my league, it was every single person that I knew from Seattle that had the Seahawks defense. So
I needed them because I won by 1. So
You're kidding.
I needed every point for them.
Wow.
But yeah, as far as Minnesota, I mean, next week they get Washington. So I think that'll be a better barometer because, again, with Seattle, like, it was a terrible spot.
I don't know. That looked bad. If they get Brosmer again, you're comfortable starting Justin Jefferson against the Commanders?
I mean, I didn't say comfortable, but you
willing to.
They're home against the Commanders, and the total's 41.5. Commanders actually slightly favored, 1.5 on the road. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of Jefferson teams might be eliminated by now.
Well, you know what? That's fair. And if you're not, can you please send us your screenshots of your team? Because you're right. Justin Jefferson.
Remember, McCarthy could be back next week.
Well, okay. Does that make it better?
No, but
I'm even, you know me, I'm the positive one here, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say, yeah, it's totally fine with Justin Jefferson. No, it's not. They haven't scored a touchdown in 2 games. They've gone 5 straight quarters without scoring, their longest streak since 1991. It's just when they went six, it's just bad, Adam. Brosmer couldn't spark the Vikings offense. We obviously saw that. Yes, maybe it gets a little bit better next week, but I know you didn't have much help too. The offensive line, they didn't have their starting left tackle, their left guard, other 3 starters didn't really perform well. But yeah, and the team again, then they only ran for 53 yards on 14 carries. It was just this offense is bad. You cannot, we can never look at them and say, I feel comfortable starting anyone here. So you just have to downgrade everyone. I think I had Justin Jefferson wide receiver 16 this week, and I'm going to have to drop him even further.
Yeah, a lot of people figured that this would be a week at least that he could produce, and no, it was T.J. Hawkinson who had the biggest game after I cut him recently too.
Oh, perfect. Oh, you should have told us that. Then we would have known that he was going to have a big game. Come on. You have to help the people. What, 11,
Yeah,
12 fantasy points from him? Yeah,
11.9, yeah, 6 for 59, and
659.
Addison actually had the most targets. He had 10, and it was still only produced 5 for 36.
It looked so bad. Addison got you 8.6. You're not happy with it. If anyone does have a fantasy team going to the playoffs with Justin Jefferson, I really want to see the screenshots at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. More to just give you credit because that has to be hard to navigate. Your first round pick giving you nothing for most of the year. Oh, brutal.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, people draft the Malik Neighbors and are still doing well.
Yeah, well,
It's possible,
that's
but it's
it's possible.
probably
I'm just
slim.
saying it's brutal. It's just brutal. I
Yeah.
mean, to you have to give yourself credit. The last time we saw him, well, I mean, so he went on a stretch week 7, 8, 9 of 12, 14, 16, but still, we're getting excited about 16 fantasy points from Justin Jefferson. So there's a problem here. But yeah, like you said, maybe they get JJ McCarthy back next week from his concussion. Brosmer, Brosmer not good. But that's okay. Hey, how did by the way, your Bryce Young Superflex team, is it still alive? I was
Yeah.
thinking about you when he got 22 points last night. I said, I think Adam might have maybe won this week. Is it still alive?
Yeah, it's
That's
basically
crazy.
if I win next week, I'm in. But again, I
What?
don't see it winning a title. It's
Well,
just
you didn't even see it going to the playoffs, to be totally fair. So here we
I'll
are.
be I'm
That's
gonna be so
crazy.
I've said this before. You gotta realistically assess your team. That team has gotten lucky. Same thing in the GST. My team has gotten lucky. Like I got
Yeah.
to win over the 1 seed, but I don't have a lot of points. And this is again why I think you need to have playoff spots for total points, whether it's 1 or 2. Because
Yeah.
I'm getting very lucky now. On the flip side, I'm very unlucky in my home league. I have the most points, and if I hold on to these 2 wins tonight, I'll be 14-12 with the most
Mm.
points playing doubleheaders. So there's samples across the board where, and I hate when people get offended too when you're like, oh, your team's got like, oh, well, I won these. It's like, no, man, just be realistic. I'm telling you myself, I have 2 teams that have gotten lucky. Like my
Yeah.
teams are not as good as some teams below me. You get a break in the schedule sometimes when you play your opponent. They have a bad week. They have players on bye. Don't be offended. It's the truth. I don't know why people can't just be honest about their teams.
I know. And that's why you're right. Total points. If you and that'll be an off-season conversation, just changing your leagues, changing your league rules because it makes it more fun for I think everyone personally. At least I think that. But I'm also someone trying to get in on total points in the
But
GST.
yeah, I mean, and like you deserve to get in. It's gonna come down for you to next week. It looks like you
I
won this
know.
week, right?
I've got Henderson left and I need four points from
Oh,
him.
4 to win. Okay, you
Five to
should
win.
get that. Then again, it is
Well, listen.
after
Listen.
what we've
I'm
seen,
I'm a little bit nervous.
this week. I don't know. I don't want to
Please
guarantee
don't
anything.
tell me that. I know. I was looking this morning. I was like, oh, 5 points for the win. I'm a 79% favorite, sitting at 6-6. Please, please, Henderson. I need it. I need it. It's gonna be fine. I do need to win next week too. Then I'll be 7-6 though, hopefully after this week.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
look, that league is wild, so it's all going to
it is
come down to the
insane.
final week.
Who was your other quarter? So did you start Tyler Shough?
Yeah,
I mean, because he had a good day too. Not necessarily pretty, but he got you fantasy points. So is Shough and Bryce Young in your
yeah,
super
which is
flex.
like,
Nice.
imagine that, like, just probably the worst quarterback combo in that league, and yet here we are. But yeah, Shough was
I
solid
mean,
too. 2 touchdowns,
yeah.
239 passing. It was a slow start. It took a while, but eventually he got going and rushed for 18 yards too. Not a lot, but hey, 1.8 could make a difference.
He's one of my I mean, I hope that no one has to stream during the fantasy football playoffs, the fantasy playoffs, but we're waiting on Justin Herbert. We're waiting on some other decisions here, but they play Carolina week 15. They got the Jets in week 16 and then they're at Tennessee. The Saints are for Tyler Shough. So if even if you're playing him in super flex formats like Adam, there's actually there's actually a little bit of hope here that he's not going to be as bad. And they're at Tampa this coming week. I don't know. That would be hilarious. I would be insufferable if one of my Superflex teams won with Bryce Young and Tyler Shough. I'm going to let you know that right now.
Yeah,
I
I don't
brag
think
about that forever.
I think it's going to be very difficult, but again, it's all about just getting in, and you hope things break right. Maybe a couple of your skill position players go off, and you just
Yeah.
need them to be
That's
solid.
all you need. That's all you need. It is close. We are close to week 14. That means we are 1 week away from the fantasy football playoffs. Adam and I are here for you, though. Any questions that you have, Monday Night Miracles, especially today, give us a call in or you can send us a message at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. It's an Overreaction Monday, though. You already know we have to overreact to Lamar Jackson, what we do with him going forward. And the Texans, are they the team to beat right now in that AFC South division? We're going to break that down and more here coming up next. Oh, what a great song, Adam. Come on. I know people are dancing right now in their
Oh
car.
yeah,
You
they
can't
are.
not listen to this song and not dance. Like just a little shoulder shake. Come on. Oh, should we just let this play
I
the
know
whole
you want
time?
to.
Can we do that? Are we get in trouble for that? Yeah,
Yes,
we
you can.
definitely get in trouble. All right, that's fine. Sorry, Beyonce.
And you
Great song
like
though.
you like starting
Great
trouble.
vibes. Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely me. Ugh, just a great song. Great concert too, by the way. What is it? It
You
was a
go
fun
to
one.
every concert now.
This year,
Yeah.
I can't deny that this year. Yeah, this year I definitely did not say no to the concerts. They were fun though. Anyway, Beyonce. What are we talking about? Beyonce, Texans. Let's go there, and then we'll talk about Lamar Jackson. And by the way, I'm seeing these teams come in from people sending in their Justin Jefferson teams that are going to the playoffs. Shout out to you guys. I absolutely love this. I saw one from Jordan said about to be 11-2. He's got Patrick Mahomes, Davante Adams, Jonathan Taylor, Achan, Kelsey, Henderson. Yeah, that's a good squad. And of course, Justin Jefferson. 11-2. I've got one from Noah going on 10-3 with Justin Jefferson. 12-team league too. Rashi Rice, George Pickens, Achan, Rico Dowdle, Patrick Mahomes. Those look nice. You have to
Yeah,
be
look,
happy
it
with that.
it can be done. You can overcome. It depends on the competitiveness level of your league. Sometimes you're able to get a lot of value, so it's possible. Probably in a
That's
more
awesome.
competitive league with savvy owners, it might be tough to have a good Jefferson team.
But still, you're on your way. We've got one more week until the fantasy playoffs, so keep your foot on that gas pedal. The Texans, by the way, are they to you, Adam, the team to beat in the AFC South right now? I mean, they had a win against this Indianapolis Colts team, 20-16. Basically, it was that early fourth quarter touchdown run by Nico Collins that gave them the go ahead, and they were able to win this one. The Colts just I think the Colts were in the people's heart this season because they've just been good and fun to watch. But yeah, Sauce Gardner left that game early. We'll have to wait and see. I think the last thing I read was that he's going to be out a couple weeks for this team. And I know that the Houston Texans might not be at the top of the AFC South at this present moment, but they seem like a force. They seem like someone down the line. They get CJ Stroud back, and didn't necessarily say everything was pretty. But man, it seems like one of those teams that down the line you don't want to face them and you don't want to face this defense. They've been fun to watch.
Yeah, they're playing really good football right now, and that was a big win for them. They do have a interesting game this week, Sunday
Yeah.
night game at Kansas City, which obviously Kansas City needs to win. And we keep saying that every week, but this time we mean
But
it.
here
Like
we
they
are.
have to. But after that, though, they get the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Chargers,
Yeah.
and the Colts. So yeah, there's a real chance for them to win this division. And the Colts and Jacksonville play twice in the next few weeks, including this upcoming week.
Yeah, I mean, that creates the path, right? It comes to when it like they could leap over the Colts when they complete they could complete the season sweep week 18. That's the final game. So obviously that one's going to have big implications there. But yeah, I mean, CJ Stroud returned. We missed him for 3 games. He was out for 3 games with that concussion, and it was an up and down day, right? He finished 22 of 35, 276, 1 interception. But Nico Collins caught 5 passes for those 98 yards. Daniel Jones finished with 201 yards, 2 touchdowns. Daniel Jones playing through the leg fracture that just might have scared some. It scared me a little bit, scared some people off. I actually went and benched, and this was dumb at the end of the day, but I didn't play Alec Pierce this weekend. I think he caught a touchdown in this one, so he was able to actually put up a decent fantasy day. So I was kicking myself for that. 17 points. He up a great fantasy day. So Daniel Jones, even though he's not 100%, he put together a pretty good performance. We'll see if he can be able to do that. I think right now it's just tough to see which receiver week in and week out is going to be the one that scores you the most points. We've talked about Alec Pierce all year. Michael Pittman Jr. is always in the conversation. Josh Downs as well. Tyler Warren was sick in the morning, but then was able to play. So yeah, they didn't get this win, and they really need to start getting hot down the stretch here.
Yeah, Jones has not played as well and not moving great either.
Yeah.
So it is definitely a concern. And we also see Taylor produces very well when they win. When they lose, he does not. And did not score a touchdown in this game. Did catch 3 passes for 36 yards, but he has slowed down a little bit. And their schedule is tough upcoming. I
That
mean,
is.
there's a chance they don't make the playoffs at this point. They could be in real trouble here. When you look at the schedule down the stretch, they're at Jacksonville this week, then they're at Seattle, home to San Francisco, home to Jacksonville, and at the Texans. There's a chance they don't win another game.
How do you evaluate this wide receiver room then for fantasy football purposes? Because I mentioned Alec Pierce was the one that had the really good day, right? 17 fantasy points. Then you have Michael Pittman coming through, 4 targets, 1 reception, 13 yards. Again, I know this is a tough defense, so you kind of have to take it a little bit with a grain of salt, but 2.3 fantasy points on the day for him. And then there are others. I mean, Tyler Warren, you're usually starting week in and week out because it's Tyler Warren, but then you've got Josh Downs, 6 targets, 2 receptions, 44 yards, 6.4 fantasy points. Is there a must start in this receiver room right now?
I wouldn't say must start. Pierce is probably the guy you feel best about
Yeah.
at this point. We know how good Pittman is, but we've seen a couple of these games recently. I think it comes down to the matchups. We knew this was a tough matchup. They have good corners, right? So, but Pierce has shown an ability to get open, not just deep, but on all different type of routes. He's just become a really good wide receiver. He played the most snaps, ran the most routes. So I feel probably best about him right now. And then Pittman, it comes down to matchups. And this was not a great matchup for him
No, it was
with those
tough.
corners. And Warren, you pretty much have to use every week. He's a tight end. I
Yeah.
don't, it felt like maybe he was going to go off at one point where we're like, okay, this guy could be a huge difference maker. And he really hasn't. He's been good, but it's not been as good as we thought it could be. He had at least 70 receiving yards in 3 of the first 4 games of the season. He's had 1 game over 70 since, and 4 touchdowns on the season. So, like, it felt like maybe he could be like on a Brock Bowers path, or maybe a little below that, and it's not happening.
Yeah, he's given you good ceiling games, but it's been we haven't gotten that since before their bye. Week 10 against Atlanta, 17.9 fantasy points. He had a stretch of 9.3, 7.6, 9.5, 11.2 this past week. And like you said, at Seattle to start the fantasy playoffs. That's going to be a tough game. They're at Jacksonville this week, and then they play San Francisco week 16, Jacksonville week 17. So something to look for the Colts. But I agree, Alec Pierce, which is from where we started the season, Adam, to now saying Alec Pierce is the guy that you're starting week in and week out, or that you feel the best about. Not necessarily saying we trust him every single time, but it's crazy how the season can just turn like that. And we're talking way better about him. I remember when he was on waivers. He was barely picked up in some of those shallower formats, 12-team leagues. So yeah, he's been solid for you this season. The big one here, overreaction or not, do you have to bench Lamar Jackson until further notice? What do we realistically, if you're heading into the playoffs and you're looking at your lineup and you might have a second quarterback on your team with Lamar Jackson as your QB1, what are you doing? They're at home against the Steelers this weekend.
Another good matchup. But I said last week, look, if he can't get it done against the Bengals, it's time to panic. So yeah, it's time to panic. He clearly isn't healthy. He's not evading tacklers like he used to. When he does have the open lanes, the speed isn't there. So he could say he's healthy all he wants, but clearly, whether it's the hamstring still or a toe, whatever it is, he's just not healthy. And this is 3 straight games without a touchdown now and not much production on the ground. So he gets the Steelers this week, as you mentioned, and then the Bengals again. But we just saw him at home against the Bengals not do anything.
Yep.
Like, it was ugly. So yeah, I think you can move on.
I think you have to bench Lamar Jackson because at this point, if he's not giving you the yards on the ground, if he's only leading two scoring drives on Sunday against a defense that's allowing a league high 32.7 points per game, you have to panic. If there was ever a time to do it, Adam, it has to be this game with him not putting up anything against a really bad Bengals defense. And I know, again, it's an overreaction Monday. We try to see both sides of it here, but really, if you're trying to go for a fantasy championship, I don't know how you can feel comfortable with Lamar Jackson as your starting quarterback right now. He couldn't find any rhythm. He's committing turnovers. He's missing several wide open receivers. It's all bad. And I can't believe we're here talking about him like this. And again, this is fantasy football, though. And when you're not getting the rushing upside, when you're not getting anything done through the air, Adam, where can you go? You just have to try and move on if you can. And some people might not be able to. I understand that, too.
Watch. People are still going to rank him very high this week.
Where should I have him?
Uh,
Where should I have him? Again,
let's see,
okay,
we
so
got
again,
4
it's not a
teams
bad
on bye.
matchup
It's not.
against the
That's the thing.
Steelers. Ravens at home, but we can't keep doing this. They just had a
I
great
know.
matchup against the Bengals.
We're just going based on the past.
But there
And
are 4 teams on a bye.
yeah.
So QB9.
Okay, that's
That feels
that's
right.
probably fair. I guess there's a lot of ugly situations right now too,
There
where
are.
if he does rebound, then he's still going to be better than a lot of guys. But yeah, it's tough right now.
Yeah, again,
I mean, the
4
quarterbacks on bye. I mean, Drake May,
that's gonna
Jackson
be a big
Dart,
one.
Brock Purdy, and the elite Bryce Young.
Hey, be nice. Be nice to Bryce Young. He's helping you win in Superflex.
But he easily could give me 3.
Bag.
He could easily give me 3 points in week 15, knowing him.
Well, I mean, there's at least
Like, you
2
would start
there
Jacoby Brissett at this point over him, right?
ahead of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Who do they have this week?
They're home against the Rams. But we just saw Bryce Young throw 3 touchdowns on the
Well,
Rams.
I know, but the Rams, maybe they weren't. They just overlooked them, right?
No,
I still
don't
think the Rams
so.
are a little bit elite.
I mean, they turned it over. Look, if you turn it over 3 times, and the turnovers too, where they came, the deflection for a ball in the end zone, so they were about to score there. He throws a pick 6, and then late in the game when they could have taken the lead, he fumbles. So the turnovers came at very pivotal times.
I just know that Lamar Jackson will not be in my top 5 this week. You can't do it. You cannot have him ranked there.
Yeah, but you're still afraid to put him lower, man.
What, I just said QB9, and you said that was a good spot.
And then you said you backtracked. You're like, I'm not going to put him in my top 5. So you're going to put him 6.
No, I just said QB9. I'll put him. I'll see. I haven't done my rankings yet. Ian Hartnett's rankings come out early today, so I'm curious where he's going to have him first, and then Matthew Friedman. But yeah, I don't think he can be in a top. He cannot be in a top 5 right now. There is no way that we can justify that. I want to.
Well, with Drake May being out, that takes someone out of the top 5. Well, you'll play Burrow ahead of him, right? Even in Buffalo,
for sure. Yes.
Yeah. Dak. You gotta play Dak ahead of him.
Dak for sure. Let me look. I see. This is what Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. I guess the question is Stafford. He's been right there on the cusp. He was my QB6 this week.
You probably would. Again, I know he had the 3 interceptions. He still had 2 touchdowns. They're going against the Cardinals. You would play him. Mahomes. Mahomes against the Texans.
I know. I just looked at that. Okay, maybe I'll backtrack
it's going to be a challenge for you this week.
Maybe I'll backtrack a little bit, but we'll find out. I'll see when Ian is going to put up his rankings, but those are going to be live at fantasylife.com here in a little bit. We're going to continue on. Again, fantasy winners and losers. It's an Overreaction Monday. Send us in your questions, your comments, your teams. I love to see those. At Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there. We're doing winners and losers coming up next. All right, everyone, it is the holiday season, and I want you to know you never have to skip a meal. I know that sometimes you look around, you say, I don't have time to eat anything. So I'm really glad that I get to tell you about Huel. In these drinks by Huel, you don't have to worry about the sugar. If you're going to be hungry again the next 20 minutes, their be ready to drink shakes have 35 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no sugar added, and they're gluten free, and they're under $5 per meal. Again, my personal favorite is the chocolate peanut butter. And if you're looking for daily greens, that is one of my favorite drinks from them as well. I love the peach hibiscus, but in these super greens drinks, it doesn't even taste like a super green drink. It was developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians, 42 vitamins and minerals and superfoods, only 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and only 1 gram of sugar. It is the holiday season, but you need to keep fueling your body, and that's why you want to go and check out Huel. They make healthy eating simple. They also just launched into Target stores nationwide. Try both products today with 15% off your purchase for new customers with my exclusive code FANTASYLIFE at www.huel.com/fantasylife. Use my code, fill out that post-checkout survey, and help support the show. Winners, fantasy winners and losers here. I mean, at least you got something from Bijan Robinson, right? Season high 28 touches, 30.3 fantasy point day, going up against the Jets. Total 142 rushing yards and a touchdown there. I mean, come on. That was good. 23 carries. You're
Well,
happy about that?
give me credit because I spurred.
Oh, give
I
you.
spurred it. I
Oh,
did a couple
uh-huh.
things yesterday to get guys going
Mm.
because I had tweeted out Bijan Robinson has 13 carries for 91 yards. Tyler Allgeier has 3 carries for 3 yards and a touchdown because they gave him that carry at the goal line. And then finally, Robinson found the
There
end
we
zone.
go.
So look,
Oh, thank you, Adam, for doing
you're
that.
welcome. I did it for
Yes.
the people, not for me. But yes, Robinson is still getting most of the touches in this backfield. It's hard to be upset when he gets 28. We know they're going to mix in Allgeier here or there. We just don't want him taking away so many of those goal line carries because we know Robinson can get it done. In the passing game, once again, 5 for 51. So yes, you're very happy with Bijan Robinson right now. I mean, there were people weeks ago who were so frustrated. Someone told me he's like one of the worst first round picks. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I
No.
get it. It can be frustrating when you're watching these games and Algier is getting these goal line carries. And to be fair, like Bijan could have an even better fantasy season if he was given the opportunity to get the touchdowns that Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs gets. Because again, he still only has 7 total touchdowns on the season, but he's got 54 receptions. He's close to 1,000
Yep.
yards. So it's still been fine for fantasy. It's not the ceiling maybe that those guys would get because Bijan has the ability to get 15, 20 total touchdowns if they let him. So Allgeier is capping his ceiling a bit. But again, it's not ruining Bijan for fantasy. He's still having a very, very good fantasy season. And you would, if we were drafting today, you would still take him very high.
For sure. And I kind of understand, saying that Bijan, he's not the worst first round pick. Listen, we could count a lot of other guys ahead of him, but it does get frustrating when Tyler Algier is being used, at the goal line. And I understand that he has scored in 5 of their past 8 games. And he had the 2 touchdown day against Indianapolis. So you've got, but still, I mean, he's, 5.9 fantasy points, 9.6, the 17 week 10. I think he's still flex worthy. I put him on the bench, of course, this week because
Yeah.
why would I make a good decision
It's
going
just
into the
no,
weekend?
it's really difficult with him because I have him in a
It
league
is.
too, and I barely play him, and it's a deep league, so it's 3 receivers, 2 flex spots. I've said this before. You kind of have to predict game script with him because if they fall way behind and they're not a good team right now, he's just not going to help much because they're going to use Bijan more in the passing game, and he's dependent on a touchdown.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess you could have said, well, if there's any week that they would be competitive or win, it would be against the Jets. I mean, they did lose the game. Um, so yeah, he's really difficult right now, especially this week. There were no teams on bye. I didn't even know who. Let's see. So next week we have 4 teams on bye. Who do they
Hmm.
play?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know who they play offhand. I got to look at that one. But
yeah. No, I don't have
it's
that.
it's difficult because you could also predict the wrong game script too.
Oh,
Oh, they
Seahawks.
play the Sea. Oh, yeah, you're
Brutal.
not going to
Yeah, you're
use him
not playing
there.
him.
Now watch,
Yeah.
I'll have 3 touchdowns.
Don't say that. Well, no, you have to get it done in the passing game for those running backs because on the ground they're tough, but through the air, yeah. But it's just, and it's the GST. That's where I have to always figure out, am I playing Tyler Allgeier or am I not? And that's why it's always so close for me, because you have guys that are right on the cusp, like Tyler Allgeier, where you say, okay, if he finds the end zone though, I get 12, 13 fantasy points, and that's something that you'll take every single time in the flex. But yeah, going forward, especially this coming week. I mean, we're going to drop the rankings early here at fantasylife.com, but Tyler Algier is definitely going to move down the ranks because they're playing the Seahawks. We've got more winners and losers that I want to go through, because I do want to talk about Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice in that game that we saw on Thursday. I also want to mention Davante Adams, who is just going to score every single week at him for the rest of his life. We're going to break those guys down and more here coming up next. Going through fantasy winners and losers here from week 13, and someone that I feel like we talk about every single week, Adam, because he's scored a touchdown in every single game all the way back to week 6. Davante Adams. Someone that I'm going to look back on and say, I needed more. And I have him in a few places, but man, you've got a 2-touchdown game, 21 fantasy points on this one against the Carolina Panthers. And he's just feels inevitable. Like 2 touchdowns, another 2-touchdown game in week 12. 1, 2, 3 against Jacksonville. Come on. This has to be one of the best fantasy football picks that you could have had this season so far.
It is all on touchdowns. 14 touchdowns on 52 catches. Like, what? This is insane what he is doing. He has one 100-yard game this year. He's been held to 62 receiving yards or fewer in 6 of the last 7 games. So, yeah, the touchdowns have certainly helped them a lot, but they keep happening. We keep saying they get inside the 5, and it's always a touchdown attempt to Adams. And this is what I said before the year when I wrote out Puka. I said, Puka's really good, but Adams is going to take away red zone targets. I didn't think it was going to be to this level. This is insane. Now, Puka's still having a very good year. Like, he's 3rd in points per game in PPR formats. Adams is 8th. But we have seen Puka has, come back down to the pack here. Like, he's not, you could have made a case for him being number 1, number 2 wide receiver. I don't think you can anymore. Again, he's still very good, but, he was putting up between 25 and 36 to start the year. And we haven't seen that lately because, again, Adams is just getting all the touchdowns. And Puka's never been a big touchdown guy in the NFL. That's the only thing you go look back. You're like, how is he not scoring? He puts up the receptions. He puts up the yards. He only has 4 touchdowns this year. Well, 5, including a rushing, but 4 receiving for Puka. Yep. So that's what keeps him out of the, the tier of like the Jamar Chase. I guess JSN you would still put over him. I mean, JSN for one bad game.
JSN is my one. I'm the rest of the way.
I faced them yesterday in a league of all the weeks.
You're so lucky.
That's what I'm saying. It was the GST. See how I'm getting lucky there. My team's not good. It's not one of the best teams. I got lucky. It happens. We talk about it all the time. There is an element of luck in fantasy sports, and especially in fantasy football when the schedule and when you play teams and when they have guys on buys and injuries. And we've seen it every year. And that's why the whole point is to try and eliminate as much luck as possible. You can't completely eliminate it, but we see it all the time. All you got to do is look at points for, points against, and you can tell who the lucky teams are. So got lucky facing JSN this week, his worst week at 4.3. But even I think at this point, you got to take Rashee Rice over Puka, right?
Yeah, I think so. Right?
I mean,
Rashee Rice had a
He's scoring touchdowns. His red zone targets are insane for Rice. So, again, it's not a knock on Puka. He's still very good, but it looked like to begin the year, you were like, wow, I got a guy that's going to put up 25 every week, and it's not happening.
He hasn't given you 25 fantasy points since week 4. Puka Nacua. That was a 36-point game. He's still good. He's still good.
Very good.
Very good. We don't need to, but it's not to the level that you think every single week, like you said, 20 to 25 points, lock it in, just like how we talked about with JSN this season. It's, 17, 14, 16, 13. That's been the last 4 games. He had a 22-point outing against New Orleans week 9. But you said it. I mean, Davante Adams is just coming in, and he's a key piece for this offense as well. That's what Davante Adams is. So he now has 11 touchdowns of 10 yards or fewer for the season. You think that it can't keep going, and we say, oh well, regression's coming. I don't know. That might just keep happening for Davante Adams and the Rams. All right, we're going to continue on. You know what time it is? It is time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler. We're going to take your calls, your questions, go through all the news and notes that you need to know in the water cooler here coming up next. Oh, it's about that time. Time for the Fantasy Life Water Cooler right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Overreaction Monday. And we are here for all your overreactions. So if you've got any questions, any comments, a Monday night miracle that you might need, send it in at KValenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there on X, or you can give us a call. 888-963-2682 is the call-in, or you can press the new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Adam, I need, what did I say, 5 points from Travion Henderson? What's the worst that could happen? Just 5 points for my Monday Night Miracle. Am I nervous about it? Yes, of course I am, because it's the Patriots and Travion Henderson. But I have to stay confident and hope that I can just get this win.
8:32 left in the second quarter. And Henderson is sitting on 1 fantasy point. Nah.
You're horrible.
I hope not. I have him in a league too. Well, a couple leagues, so I could use the points.
You're already
winning? Yes, but total points are a factor. Well, I have the most points in the league as of this second. It's very close though. So I want to be able to pull away a little bit and ensure that prize.
Yeah, I've got the one that's GST. Need 5 points from Travion Henderson, so you guys can let us know what you need, because I think there are some fantasy players going tonight that people are going to rely on. I've got a couple leagues where I'm waiting on Drake May, see how he does, and man, there's one, and I don't know what the projections. So the projections, you know how it tells you, oh, we're expecting Drake May to get X amount of points. It has him at 28. And I need 25 to win. And I'm nervous about 25 from Drake May, to be totally honest with you. If it was sitting at 2018, I'd feel a bit better. And maybe he just goes off tonight. But I just have this feeling that that's going to be a bit of a sweat.
Is it 6 for a pass touchdown or 4?
6.
Okay, 6 helps a lot. Well,
you said had a 20-point.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't had over 24 since week 8 in 6 points for passing touchdown. So
he's got the Giants, but
one touchdown or fewer in the last 2 games. So
he's cooled off a little bit. I mean,
it's the passing yards have been there. It's just the passing touchdowns. Like if you look at the passing yards, 282, 259, 270, 281, 294. Just passing touchdowns haven't been there lately.
Well, let's get it going. How about that? But 1 from Travion Henderson, please. And then Drake May can do the rest. How's that?
Yeah, I'll take 3 or 4 from Drake May.
Oh, 3 or 4 from, yeah. Well, we'll book that. We'll book that. So again, as we're talking about what we need, we want to talk about what you guys need for fantasy tonight. 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. And as always, fantasylife.com is always there for you. So make sure you go subscribe to that newsletter. Check out all of our articles 100% free. Like I said, I've got my waiver wire article that you need to check out at fantasylife.com. Also, everything you need to know from these games that just happened from Adam Ronis, you can check that out at fantasylife.com as well. So make sure you go and do that. All right, let's get into the water cooler, and then we'll get into your questions. I see some coming in on X over there. Justin Herbert's a big one that we'll have to watch and wait for. So Justin Herbert suffered a broken bone in his left hand. They won this game 31-14 over the Las Vegas Raiders. He was still in that game, but he is actually undergoing surgery, maybe as we speak. I don't know, but it's today. And Harbaugh was asked if Justin Herbert will miss any time, and he said, I don't know about that. We'll see where the week takes us. And Justin Herbert, after the game, was a lot more optimistic. He said that he expects, quote, I'm treating it as if I'm playing on Monday, and that he was very hopeful. But I don't know, Adam, a broken bone in the left hand, surgery today. We'll have to see. At least he has a lot of time to get right, because they don't play until Monday night against the Eagles at home.
Yeah, Chargers always get hit with these type of injuries. So it's at least it's not his throwing hand, but still got to be able to hold on to the football. Tough. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, because the Chargers obviously are in the playoff mix and can't afford to lose, and they got to match up against a Philly team that will have more time than them after the Philly played Black Friday. Yeah. So it's tough. for the Chargers here because they're 2 games out of first. They're 8-4, battling for that playoff spot, and losing Herbert for any time would be a problem for them.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. I mean, Lad McConkey got you 4 receptions, 39 yards, and a touchdown there. I didn't see what kind of day Keenan Allen had. Seven fantasy points, 13.9 from Lad McConkey. Quentin Johnston, 11.3. So not bad. Kamani Vidal, though, career day. But does it matter, Adam? Could we see? That's the big question. If you've had Kamani Vidal, you've been happy with it, especially yesterday. 25 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Again, they won this game 31-14 over the Raiders. He caught one target for 11 yards only. Only one target in that game as well. But man, that was a great fantasy day. And then you have to sit back and say, well, does this matter anymore? Because maybe we get Omarion Hampton back in week 14. So no matter what, you're happy with Kamani Vidal and the fantasy points that he's given you so far.
Yeah, huge performance for him yesterday. If that was his farewell tour, we appreciate it. There were some down weeks. It was every other week with him, and he ended on a good note. I would still hold on to him just in case something happens to Hampton, or I would think that they make Hampton the primary back. I think there was questions about that with Tampa this week, and they were answered emphatically that it's Bucky Irving's backfield. So I think those with Omarion Hampton hope that the same thing happens when he returns, which we hope will be this week because he was limited in practice all week last week. So it sounds like he's close. So as long as he doesn't have any setbacks, I could see him making his return this week. That game is Monday night, though. I hope they give us clarity and don't give us no game time decision. If you have Vidal and Hampton, then it's easy, and I do in one team. But for those that don't, it's going to be a problem. So let's hope that they just give us the clarity and let us know by Sunday, preferably Friday. But
Friday would be. I was going to say Sunday. No, I'll take Friday mid-afternoon. That would be nice.
Would be ideal.
Then you go into the week. We want to see the full practices. That'll be key. So we'll be watching for those starting on Wednesday. But yeah, if it's anything like the split for the Cardinals, like you just said, I mean, it was Bucky Irving season. He was back. There was no question about it. 17 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Then you had Baker Mayfield actually as the second best rusher on this team. He had 6 carries for 27 yards, 2 carries for Rachaad White, 2 carries for Sean Tucker, and Sean Tucker didn't even get anything. Maybe he got a little bit in the receiving game. Nope. So it was really just Rachaad White. Looks like would you look at Rachaad White as the RB2 as the primary backup now again if we saw Bucky Irving go down?
No, I think if Bucky went down, I think it would be a split with Tucker and White. I think just now they like White in that passing game. So that's why I think
he had 3 receptions.
Yeah.
3 receptions off 3 targets, 22 yards in that one. But Bucky Irving, welcome back. I didn't have much Bucky Irving. I know you had him in 1. So you were
I started him. I mean, I didn't think it was even a question. I think some people were worried. I could see some people benching him because they had said that we'll see how he responds. We might go with the hot hand. That's not what they did. I mean, Bucky Irving played 54% of the snaps, but got all the touches. And that's what matters. Like, I don't care if Bucky's off the field when they're running a pass play, but he got most of the touches in that backfield, and that's what matters. Yeah. So it was a really good sign if you were worried because we did see Tucker play well in his absence, and Rachaad White is productive in the pass game. But Bucky Irving, 19 touches in his first game back and had most of the carries too. Only 2 for Rachaad White, 2 for Sean Tucker. So it was a really good sign that they basically gave Bucky Irving the full workload, even though he only played 54% of the snaps. So you feel good about Bucky Irving going forward now.
Absolutely. Amon-Ra St. Brown is another injury we saw. This was on Thursday, but still want to hit it just in case. The Lions... All right, so the Lions said Amon-Ra St. Brown is likely going to be out, quote, a week or 2 with the ankle injury. But talking with Adam Ronis in one of the breaks, he says, hey, I don't know, maybe. So they play Thursday, and this is a pivotal game for the Lions because of what we saw week 13. So Amon-Ra St. Brown went down with this injury in that game on Thanksgiving. They lost to the Packers 31-24. Again, he was ruled out. They said it won't be long term, and that they'll know more on Friday. I didn't see much reporting after that. Without St. Brown, obviously we saw Jameson Williams step up, 7 receptions for 144 yards, both career highs there. And if they're shorthanded against the Dallas Cowboys, Cowboys come Thursday, it'll be an interesting conversation, Adam, to see where we go, what they're going to do. But you actually think that Amon-Ra might be back, maybe?
Oh, I'm
Think
just
they're
saying,
right?
until he's officially ruled out, I don't believe it because they did say it's a low ankle sprain. It's not as severe as they thought.
Yeah.
And there are certain players that just are tough and can beat timetables. And I think St. Brown is one of those guys. You know,
Yeah, he's
we know
tough.
he knows every guy that was drafted ahead of him. He's got that chip on his shoulder. It's a massive game for Detroit. So I wouldn't be surprised. The likelihood is he probably will miss and then maybe returns in week 15. Because only having a week, probably not ideal here, but I'm not
Not great, but
penciling him. I'm not going to say he's out until he's officially ruled out, which as a Cowboys fan, I hope he sits. And I don't
I
have him
know
in
you
fantasy
do.
this year. So,
So we know what Adam's rooting for here. He's like, yeah, it's okay. Just take a week.
hey,
Make sure you get fully
I finally
healthy.
feel good about my football team for the first time
Listen,
this year. So,
I'm happy for you. I told you when we were leaving Wednesday, I said, come on, you got to pick the Cowboys.
I
That was
will
a fun
say
game
this,
too.
though. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was trying to figure out the top 5 most exciting teams to watch in football, and I think it's really hard to come up with 5. That's how bad it is
Right
this year, I
now?
think.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
offensively.
Yes,
Dallas is definitely up there. You can't tell me they're not a top 5 offense to watch in the
for
NFL.
sure.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The day that you had, I was going up against CeeDee Lamb. I was just really annoyed actually with the Cowboys because I had George Pickens, so you're happy with that. But I would agree with that. Who are your other 4?
I
Is it
can't really
just teams with is it
like
just teams
just
with bad defenses that just have to keep going
no,
like
it's
the Bengals?
offenses that you like to watch.
Yeah, not the Ravens right now. I'll tell you
No,
what
the
it's
Ravens are
not.
not in there. The Bills
Not
used
the
to be in there.
Eagles.
They're not. The Eagles aren't.
Not the Bears because
No,
I mean,
they're not a fun offense to watch.
not the
Is Detroit
49ers.
still up there?
Not
I'd say the
not for
Rams.
me. The Rams for sure. The Cardinals for the stint that we had with Jacoby Brissett was kind of fun, to be honest with you.
Is New England?
No.
Yeah.
I don't well
I guess the
because it's
Bengals
kind
with
of the
Burrow, right?
Bengals with Burrow back. That's why I said, is it for right now? I think the Patriots can be fun, but you
Mm.
just never know. You just never know the way that they're going to attack you. Last week it was a Hunter Henry week, right? And then we talk about Keyshawn Booty stepping up. We talk about the backfield with Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, but they're not ones where I just high firepower kind of offense. But I think they can be. You just never know where it's going to come from. Eh,
Maybe the Chiefs now with Rice, but I'm
maybe the
saying
Chiefs
like
are kind of
this
nice.
this is a lot more difficult than you thought, right?
Yeah, it is actually. That's a fun. Yeah,
Because if
that's a
you look
fun
at
one.
some of the top teams in the NFL,
I would say Seahawks. I'm
uh,
biased. With
are
JSN, you don't get
I mean
excited to watch
JSN,
that?
yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
Sam Darnold
It's
though. He did
yeah,
nothing
but look
yesterday.
at JSN. Okay, what he didn't need to do anything. 26-0.
Okay.
They said that they were going to blitz him. He knew what was coming. They wanted to get in his face. They
I mean the
definitely did
Bucks
that.
were up there in recent years. They aren't now.
The Broncos are not fun to
I
watch,
don't know
in my
about the
opinion.
49ers because of Purdy.
Mm, as long
You
as
can make a
Kittle's scoring
case. Yeah,
fantasy
Kittle.
points, that's fine. Whatever we need. I know what it is. It's the Titans. Come on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Come on. You put some
You talk
respect on
about
the
an
Sorry
irrelevant
Titans.
backfield.
Oh my gosh.
You
Have
can't
we
start
talked
any of
about
those guys.
when was the last time we talked about Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears?
That is
Week
true.
3?
We have not mentioned their names in a while.
No, I think we've talked more about Chimere DK than both of those guys this year. And Calvin
True.
Ridley when he went out. That's definitely a little bit irrelevant over there. All right. Well, let me just say this. Jameson Williams, by the way, if you were playing him in this game, though, wow. I know, again, Amon-Ra St. Brown knocked out of this game, so that did help. But 26.9 fantasy points. We got most of our fantasy points from Thursday, Friday, to be honest. Like, those
Oh
were the
yeah.
high-scoring games. Those were fun, and they delivered. Across that whole day, and Friday was fun as well. Fifth time in his past 7 games that he's scored at least 16 fantasy points. So Jameson Williams back on the radar is someone that you can probably just start week in and week out. He's been up and down, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. What else? Let me keep going here. I think that's all the injury news that we have to talk about. I know that we're waiting on a couple. Like, I don't think anyone though is playing Aaron Rodgers, but if it mattered
No.
for them, if they were streaming him, I don't know. It was what was it? It was the hand, and then he had a bloody nose or something like that. The fans were chanting "Fire Tomlin" though after that game. You hear that on
Yeah,
the
I did.
broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 26. They lost 26-7 in that game.
Yeah, look,
Another team that we don't
I
talk
think
about.
we all felt going into the year they weren't a good team, and they got off to a hot start, and we knew that they would come back down, and they're still alive for a division because Baltimore just can't figure things out.
Do
So
anything.
yeah, and I guess the Bengals technically are still they're only 2 games out of first. So
That is
do we get another
insane
run
to
from them?
me.
I mean, look, the Steelers play the Ravens this week. Now the Bills play Buffalo though. So then again, Buffalo is absolutely can be beaten. I mean, that offense still looks terrible. I mean, the passing game
Oh,
was
horrible.
atrocious. I mean, they gave James Cook 32 carries.
I was gonna
Okay.
say it was a James Cook day, to
Yeah.
say the least. 32 carries, 144 yards.
So if the
But at
bank
least Keon Coleman scored a
oh
touchdown.
yeah,
Come
great.
on.
Because everyone was playing him. I mean, people probably forgot he still plays in the NFL.
Well, he was benched for 2 games for
Yeah.
whatever he was not showing up to meetings or whatever it was. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think they? Because I've seen the discourse now of Tomlin. People saying, "Oh, it's time to let Tomlin go from the Steelers." But that's such an odd team because he's in his 19th season as their head coach. He's won a Super Bowl with them. He's 189 and 113-2 in the regular season, and he's never had a season below 500. But you also look at the team where we say, just like last year when they went to the playoffs, we said, okay, that's an early exit. This isn't a team that's built to win in the playoffs or win a Super Bowl. It just feels like a weird middle ground right now with this team and
Yeah.
Tomlin.
I mean, look, he'll get a job immediately if he
Oh, for
left.
sure.
So sometimes I guess you could make the case for Baltimore too, I guess, when you have that same voice for a long time.
I
At some
mean,
point you want to move on. So maybe it's possible. But I look at this team, I don't think they're good. I don't think it's his fault. I think he gets them to overachieve all these years. I know they spent a lot of money on the defensive side, and they kind of haven't lived up to that. But offensively, I mean, this team is just terrible.
yeah, it's not good. DK Metcalf again. I stand by DK Metcalf being a little bit disappointing, but I don't know if
I
that's
mean, they
me just
should have
thinking about
never
it
paid.
from
They should have never paid him that money. Like it just
no.
looks. Look,
It's
it looks stupid when you
crazy.
see Pickens going off. He's younger, and you pay Metcalf that money at this point. I mean, it made no
Well,
sense.
and when he's not like crazy, I mean, 5 targets in this game for 5 targets, 3 receptions, 32 yards, 6.2 fantasy points. He hasn't had a game over 20 since week 4 for you in
He
fantasy.
hasn't scored a touchdown in a month. He scored
Yeah,
October
week 8.
26th. He's 5 straight games without a touchdown. 5 straight games without 50 receiving yards. I mean, these
Yeah,
numbers are embarrassing for a guy
it's
that you paid
bad.
all that money.
All that money and he's not involved. I don't know how you can justify that. And I don't know if that's a Rodgers thing or whatever else. But on this team, I'm rooting for one person, Adam, and it's Jalen Warren to find the end zone. And he did that. So I was okay with it. That's the only person I have on this team, though, on this offense
I
in
could have
fantasy.
used more rushing yards for him because
Well,
I
I
was on
could
his
have
rushing
too.
yards prop, but
Oh,
what are
what
you
was
going to
it?
do?
What was that set at?
61.5 going against Buffalo, who gets
Ooh,
shredded on the ground, and neither him or Gainwell could do much.
you didn't like the 35? That's
No,
fine.
no, that means a loss.
I know, I know. All right, that was the fantasy live water cooler again at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. Oh wait, we've got a call. I want to get to this caller. Let's go out to Brendan really quick if we still have him in Boston. Brendan, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, so I have Michael Pittman, and I'm wondering if I should trade him for Jacoby Myers. I just don't like how I saw Daniel Jones yesterday. Pittman has Seattle in the first round of playoffs. I have Higgins, so I may not even play Pittman, but Myers looks really good right now, and he's some pretty good matchups coming up. Just
Mhm.
curious what you two think.
I'm
That's
curious how you
interesting.
can still make
Yeah, I was
trades. When's
just
the
gonna
trade
say,
deadline?
when's the trade deadline, Brendan? It has to be this week then.
It's the end of Diddy game today at the start,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. Jacoby
Today's the
Myers.
last day.
Okay, all right. So it's interesting though, Adam, because Jacoby Myers continues to lead this Jaguars wide receiver group. So if you're trying to say I'm nervous about Michael Pittman Jr. and I'm nervous about Daniel Jones, we just said that Alec Pierce is the one that we can trust in this offense, and that's it. Would you? I mean, 21.3 fantasy points. I don't know if someone would go 1 for 1 after that performance, but I might do this deal if someone is offering it to me.
Yeah, it's tough to give up on the talent of Pittman, but I get the concerns with the offense here. I will say for Jacksonville, they get Denver in the semifinals. I don't think you're going to want to use Jacoby Myers there. You can tell me what you want about Denver last night, but this game's in Denver, so that's tough. And then Jacoby Myers gets the Colts in championship week, and maybe Sauce Gardner's back by then.
Yeah.
So, and you still have Brian Thomas there. If he wants to make it, I can make it.
Do
I
we?
think it's kind of
Do we
lateral.
have Brian Thomas there though?
Well,
I'm
maybe,
kidding.
maybe he
Not
actually.
for
I mean,
fantasy.
Parker Washington did get hurt. He has a hip
He
injury,
did,
so
yeah.
that could help Jacoby Myers. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a lateral move, and it's tough to give up on Pittman's talent. I
I
understand
know.
though the concerns with the Colts are real when you look at that schedule. They do get the 49ers at
I was
home
gonna
though,
say
and then
week
Jacksonville.
16.
Me personally, I think I'd hold Pittman.
Playing at Seattle week 15, that's gonna be tough. That's for the Colts for Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, you might be talking me out of it. I think I liked it at the beginning just because again we never want injuries, but the Parker Washington one I think is going to be key here. And the Jaguars are in a position right now where they I mean it's obvious, but they just have to continue winning. This is really going to be a toss up when we look at the standings here of what they're going to do. They're 8-4, so are the Colts in the AFC South. We just talked about the Texans and how they're coming up. Colts last 4 games. So it's Jacksonville this weekend, then they get the Jets, then like you said, it's the Broncos week 16, and then the Colts again week 17 for Jacksonville. So you say no.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wants to do it, I'm not gonna talk him out of it, but I
Yeah, I don't
think I
think
would
it's
hold
bad, but
Pittman.
all right, and he has to get that done today too, Brendan. So
Hmm.
make sure you go get that done. All right, we're now going to continue on. Appreciate you calling in though. Anyone else that has questions, give us a call if you can, or at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. Let's keep talking about it though. The best around here presented by Xfinity. I wanted to mention Jacoby Myers here, so Brendan obviously knew that we were going to go there for our next segment, but also want to talk about Brock Bowers, the Seahawks defense, Kamani Vidal. We're going to break it down here coming up next. So you guys hear it on the news, athletes, coaches, and even college players, they are getting huge endorsement deals, but the hardest working players in fantasy football, those are commissioners. Mike's Hard Lemonade, the brand for people who go hard, is launching the first ever fantasy commissioner endorsement deal. So you want to listen up here. You can nominate your commissioner for an MVP level endorsement package. That includes $25,000 in signing bonuses and a bunch of other cool swag and clout, and of course, aura. Thank your commissioners and think your commissioner deserves the spotlight. Make sure you go and submit the nomination at mikesfantasyendorsementdeal.com now through December 9th. Again, that's mikesfantasyendorsementdeal.com. No purchase necessary. Nominator 21 plus only. Nominee 25 plus only. Winner not hired as an endorser. See rules at mikesfantasyendorsementdeal.com. Please drink responsibly. Mike's Hard Lemonade Co., Chicago, Illinois. We're winning our fantasy leagues this season, and we're talking about the best around here presented by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy Xfinity. Imagine that. You heard it in the highlights, Adam. What do we do? Brock Bowers, come on. 22.3 points. They lost this game to the Chargers, but he led all tight ends through that late window on Sunday. He caught all four of his targets, I should say. 63 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had that ridiculous one-handed catch for the second. It was a great day. Great day to be a Brock Bowers manager. Shout out.
Yeah, it really is crazy because it feels like this has not been a good Brock Bowers season. I know he's missed time with injury and played through the injuries the first few weeks of the season, but he is still second in points per game in PPR formats at tight end, which maybe speaks volumes about how disappointing the position has been. But because this was only the second game this year, he scored a touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns in one game in week 9 and then the 2 yesterday. So you like to see it, especially since this Vegas offense is just so abysmal. And at least Bowers came through. Still only 4 targets in this one. But he's been really good, actually, since he came back, though. He had that one down game against Denver that Thursday night where it was just an awful offensive environment across the board, where he had 1 catch for 31. But in the other game since, he has at least 11.5 points and a game of 42.7 and the 22.3 yesterday. So at least you see that. But they get the Broncos, Eagles, and Texans in next 3 weeks.
Not great.
Boy,
for Las
that
Vegas.
is tough. But hey, it's Brock Bowers. If anyone can overcome it, it's him. But it's not ideal.
Not great. Not great for the Broncos in week 14. But he's still going to be a top 4, play 3, really, for me. Definitely inside the top 5. Let's just say that for Brock Bowers. Because like you said, if you have him, it's tough to go away from him. So he was definitely one of the best around when we saw him yesterday. We didn't get here, but Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know that game was a few days ago, but still want to shout them out and highlight them. I know they lost this game, which is absolutely crazy because that just sets them back even more for this AFC playoff race. I can't believe we're talking about this with the Kansas City Chiefs right now, but it is anyone's season at this point, and I think that's what makes it so fun across the NFL. Mahomes and Rice, though, put up their second best and their best fantasy scores of the season. So you've got a really, really good game. It ended up 31-28 on that Thanksgiving Day loss to the Cowboys. Mahomes had 29.4 fantasy points. And you saw 29.4 from Rashee Rice. So it was fantastic. And I know they lost. I know Chiefs fans probably weren't happy, but on the fantasy box score for the day, you were happy with it.
And you see why people paid that 5th, 6th round pick,
Yeah.
even with Rice missing 6 games due to suspension. This is what we were all hoping for, and we are getting it. He's just getting so many targets near the red zone. They are looking to get the ball to him continuously, and he's really had one down game, and that was 9.8, but this is now 4 games of at least 23.1 PPR points. So 4 of his 6 games he's been going off, and they're likely going to continue, obviously, playing for their playoff lives, even though they do have a tough matchup this week against that Texans
brutal.
defense. But it doesn't matter. We're playing Rice no matter
Absolutely.
what. I don't
At
care who he's
12,
facing.
come on, 12 targets, team leading 12 targets. You take that every time. It's just, you just said it, but that's why we were willing to take a player and put him on our bench. And that's why we just said it during draft season. If you were going to take Rashee Rice, you obviously needed to take another receiver right away because you were going to be without him for the first 6 games of the season. But he's proving that it was absolutely worth it because Xavier Worthy, I mean, he hasn't gotten over 11 fantasy points since week 4, Adam, where it's just absolutely brutal for Xavier Worthy. The running back room is not great either. Let's just say that. Kareem Hunt, maybe you've been flexing him in those deeper formats, but he only got you 9 fantasy points in this one after a 20-point outing, 13.2 against Denver in week 11. So, yeah, it's Rashee Rice's world, and we're kind of just living in it with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, to be honest.
Yeah, I took Rice in 2 redraft leagues, and as of right now, both those teams are in the playoffs. So
Nice.
it can be done. Obviously, there are probably some people who were hit hard with injuries. Like if 3 of those first 5 picks were hurt early in the year and then you had Rice, yeah, it can put you in a hole. So there's definitely risk to doing that strategy. But if you can weather those first few weeks when that player is out, you're seeing the difference that you're getting right now because Rice can be a massive difference maker in the fantasy playoffs.
AJ Brown, squeaky wheel. I don't know if it was a squeaky wheel game, but at least we know he was happy. Fantasy managers were happy too. Again, this was the Friday game, but he posted season highs in points, receptions, and yards. 132 yards, 10 receptions, 35.2 fantasy points. Again, they lost this game to the Chicago Bears, which we really need to break down here, Adam, because what the Chicago Bears team is doing is, to me, you shake your head and you can't even ask anymore if they're going to continue winning this way because they are. This is just the team that they're going to be. But AJ Brown looked really good in this game, and so I know again a loss for the Eagles, which was surprising to me. But he's heating up right now, right before the fantasy playoffs. I don't know if we think it's going to stick, but they play against the Chargers, against Las Vegas. They're at Washington, at Buffalo. So not necessarily a horrible schedule the rest of the way either.
Yeah, and we know that the floor can be very low. We've just seen the ups and downs of AJ Brown this year, but it's the reason why we've said like you're just going to have to play him every week. You can't pick and choose these spots because if you do, then you miss the 2 massive performances we've seen the last 2 games. And even with all that inconsistency, he is actually 12th on the season at wide receiver in points
That's
per game in
crazy.
PPR formats, right?
Wow.
It is, right? But the numbers are kind of, it dips. Like after the top few, it really drops off. So you just have to play him every week. And look, he could easily go out there this week and have another game of like 4. It's certainly possible. But you just got to play him at that point. I think with him and Smith, you just play them every week.
Yeah. I say unfortunately because it's just not necessarily the best way to do it, but you have to because like you said, the ceiling 35, 25, 11 the last 3 games. You could see AJ Brown really heating up down this stretch. Again, it's at Las Vegas, at the Chargers, then home to Las Vegas. Week 16 is Washington, Buffalo, week 17. Both of those last 2 on the road. So that's something you look at for the Eagles and you just hope. Cross your fingers, Adam, right? Just can we just get good days from AJ Brown and Davante Smith together? That would be nice.
Yes, let's do that. And
Let's
then
do
the
that.
Eagles lost, and it's a perfect day.
Oh, there we go. Coming from the Cowboys fan. Just to let everyone know, we're talking with Jonathan Von Tobel here next, though. We have to go through the betting lines for week 14. Also break down this Monday night football game to finish things off. We're going to do that here coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have Xfinity. All the games all in one place. Here is what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get that sports zone, every pro football game, and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You also get that multi-view so you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. The Xfinity Fan View gives you live scores, odds, and stats all in one place and personalized to you and the teams that you love. They also give you enhanced 4K and that voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. You're listening to Fantasy Life right here on this Monday morning, breaking down everything we saw from week 13, but of course, getting you ready for week 14. And who better to do that with than Jonathan Von Tobel right here, betting analyst over at VSiN. Make sure you guys go and check him out. Jonathan, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm good. This is my favorite time of year. I'm a big Thanksgiving guy. I'm a bigger Christmas guy. It's finally getting to be winter weather out here. I think you're the same region, right, guys? So I think you're kind of starting to feel that like wintry weather as well. So I'm excited. I like this. I like this time of year a ton.
I like that. Okay, so you have your tree up already? You decorate yet, or what are we doing?
We're doing that this week. I don't want to say it too loud, but the elf on the shelf is out as well. So it's that time of year.
Okay, Adam doesn't put it. Adam, when do you decorate? Really?
Definitely not this week.
Okay, there it is. There it is. We know what Adam's not doing this week. Again, Jonathan Von Tobel, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. Let's start with just the Monday night game tonight and your expectations in this game. Again, New York Giants traveling to the New England Patriots. Of course, the Patriots are favored in this one, and the total sitting at 46.5. What are your expectations here? What do you like?
I can kind of understand. We saw this open 7.5. We're down to 7. The total's down a point as well from 47.5 to 46.5. I can get, snatching up a 7.5 key number with a hook. Obviously, the offensive line injuries for the Patriots are going to loom large here. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson. I think this ties into some of the props we'll talk about. I think the Patriots can overcome those absences along that offensive line. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of wrestling with the fact that this Patriots team is probably at the top of the market. I think they're a very good teaser candidate, but 7 seems like the right number for me. The Giants aren't a good defensive team. They're not a good run defensive team. Their pass rushing numbers aren't as good as you would think, so maybe those are raised by the fact that you're facing some backups here, but generally, I think this is right where we should be. If you want to open a teaser leg and then tie it to something next week, it makes a lot of sense. Jets teasing them up in a low total, something like that. I think that's a really good way to do it, but I think this number's right on, at least side and total-wise.
I would like to see the player props you're on in this game, and also your thoughts on Jackson Dart with his rushing yards. It's anywhere from 27.5 to 28.5. We know he's run a lot, but of course he's coming off a concussion, missing 2 games, and a lot of thought maybe the Giants are going to design less runs for him. So thoughts on the Dart prop, if you like it, would you stay away, and what props you like in this game?
Yeah, so for Dart specifically, it's funny. I was just finishing up my stuff for our show later today, and I think the angle that I wanted to take was under attempts as opposed to yards. So with yards, obviously he can break one. He's good enough. He's mobile enough that if he gets one, he can rip one off for 15 or so yards, and you're going to be on life support throughout the entire game. But to your point, you look at this. If you look at his rushing profile overall, in 188 offensive snaps, he's run 55 times. That's a running rate of 29%. You would assume that's going to get cut down, just given everything we know. The concussions, the conversation. And so at 6.5, which is out there heavily juiced to the under, or 5.5, which is going to be a little bit of a sweat, I think I'd rather go in that direction on under attempts as opposed to yards, because I do think that's going to be a really big part of the conversation. And the other thing I would think that you can probably attack as well is longest rush. One of the things that really sticks out, and I mean bet that under, one of the things with Dart that really sticks out, he averages guys nearly 3 yards per carry after contact. For a quarterback, that's insane. You can't keep doing that. And we know exactly what the problems have been. So I think under on the attempts, under on the longest rush, not trying to drag these rushes out, not trying to run through contact is going to be something good. On the flip side, one of the other props I thought was interesting here is betting some overs on Travion Henderson today. I think that obviously the rushing profile for the New York Giants defensively sticks out like a sore thumb. They're awful. A bunch of 30 seconds, 31st, so however you want to break it down, EPA, adjusted line yards, power, success rate, all these sort of things. They're the worst run defense in the NFL. And I think to offset having a left side of your offensive line that's completely missing, well, what do? You just don't drop Drake May back. You just instead run the ball as often as you can and limit the opportunities for this Giants pass rush to get after him. So I think we're going to see a big Henderson day today for the most part. I think that's how you're going to do it. Over on the yards, which is floating around like the mid-60s, about 68.5 or so, or longest rush, which is in the range of about 15.5. I think both are candidates to go over.
Oh, I need it so bad because I have 5 points. I'm sweating 5 points that I need from Travion Henderson tonight, Jonathan. So that's, we're jaded. So we say, oh, maybe it's a Ramondre Stevenson day. No, need Travion Henderson here. I'm curious before we get to the early lines for week 14, just with your betting this season, have you been on much of the New England Patriots, just pass catchers, props, whatever you've seen for them? Because we were going back and forth saying like, hey, it's a different player every single time. It feels like, you got Stephon Diggs that can step up. Last week, it was a Hunter Henry week. Mac Hollins sometimes has big games. Kayshon Bouttie's in the mix as well. I'm just curious if that's something that you've gone to this season or stayed away from.
I have stayed away from, to use the cliche, I've not tried to catch that falling knife, right? I mean, it's like every single week, like you've said, who is it going to be? It's very Patriots-esque. It's like those peak Belichick years where it's like which running back is going to be the lead guy, all those sort of things. And May's really good. I mean, he's obviously very good overall, but he's so good at sharing the ball and finding the open guy. And McDaniels is so good at scheming these offenses that game plans, you just don't know who it's going to be. I've been burned plenty of times already trying to find that, and I feel like it's better to just pull back unless you have a pretty good angle like we're talking about with this running attack tonight, as opposed to trying to find who's going to be the guy from a pass catching standpoint.
Again, talking with Jonathan Von Tobel here, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. All right, looking ahead to week 14. I can't believe we're here at week 14 already, Jonathan. But anything that caught your eye? You know that Adam's going to be sweating Dallas on Thursday night. I saw Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs is interesting too. But what have you seen?
Yeah, so I'll get to the Houston side because I would lean in that direction. I bet Houston now for 3 straight weeks, and it's been profitable, so I think it's tempting to go back there. So I tend to gravitate, much like my wife did with me, I like to see the beauty underneath the surface, right? So I tend to gravitate towards some of these dirty dogs, these ugly dogs. If you're going to give me 4 with the Tennessee Titans, I don't know, man. Like, that seems like a lot. Like, the Shedeur Sanders-led Browns, I don't know what we're doing here. I mean, Shedeur Sanders has not been good. He hasn't been accurate. The quarterback play has been awful. The total is obviously abhorrent. It's only 33.5 for the game. But I'll take 4 points in the game with a total of 33.5 points. And I just think that we're doing a little too much. And the Browns have been all over the place with their power rating, right, in terms of where they were against the Raiders and then where they're at here. It just seems pretty extreme for what we have seen from both of these teams at this point right now. And then, not to curry favor again, but Kendall, we talked about this on Sunday. Look, I think the angle with your team against some bad squads is laying some of these alternate lines. Yeah. I mean, you can lay some 16.5, 17.5 and at a good plus price and feel comfortable. I mean, they got it done again yesterday, despite the fact that their offense wasn't particularly great. And then you mentioned it. Look, I'm just going to ride the train. The Texans have treated me well. Their defense is incredible. Even when their offense is stuck in the mud and is getting called for pre-snap penalties left and right, they're in these games and controlling them for the most part. And against Kansas City, I'll take one more stab here, 3.5. It's probably the peak of the market. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Colts were in Kansas City catching a similar number. So we've clearly seen the Texans get upgraded here, but I'll take one more stab with Houston because they've treated me well.
Oh, I love it. Adam, any others? Are you good?
Yeah, thoughts on Dallas getting 3 on Thursday night in Detroit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Dallas again. Not to, I'm not trying to get in on your guys' good side. Hopefully, at this point, I already am.
Yes.
But I mean, you look at Detroit, and so I was on live by myself on Thanksgiving throughout the Green Bay game, and the one thing I kept harping to our audience: explosive play rate allowed. The Lions are in the bottom of the league in terms of giving up these explosive plays. You saw it against the Giants. You saw it against the Packers. And now here you are again, a Dallas team that can generate those. You're playing indoors. You don't have to worry about any of the nonsense with playing outside. This looks like it could be a somewhat high-scoring affair, but I trust that Dallas is going to be able to pick at the scab that is this Lions defense and stay inside of this number. And I don't think anybody wants to see what I think should be the comeback player of the year winner, not because I bet him, Dak Prescott coming into town, because I think this offense is going to give them a big problem.
Oh, there we go. Just what Adam wants to hear. Jonathan, we appreciate you so much as always. Enjoy your Monday Night Football. Good luck, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. I know it's late, but appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
You too. There he goes. Jonathan Von Tobel, again, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. You can find him on Money Moves Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern. Countdown to kickoff, 12 to 1 on Sundays, and then live bet Sundays, 1 to 4 as well. So make sure you go and check him out. We've got a Monday Night Football game to finish things out for Week 13. We're going to break that down, what you guys need in your Monday Night Miracles as well. We're going to do that here coming up next. You are listening to Fantasy Life right here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Monday morning, mid-afternoon, whatever you got going on. I decorated the house yesterday, Adam. I got the Christmas tree
Really?
up, the lights.
The
What do you
games were
mean?
that bad, so you
No.
said, you know what?
Yeah, I got it done right before right before the Sunday night game, which
Yeah,
ended up
Sunday
being
for
pretty
me
good.
is
So
is nothing but football. That's
I was
it.
watching football. It was right there. I just
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily enthralled by what I was seeing.
I mean, I
So I
wasn't
said I
either,
got
but
to
I was
put
still
the tree
watching
up.
it.
I was watching it. I was watching it, but you had to put the tree up. It takes, it doesn't take that long. A little light, string a little light. Come on.
Not yet. I mean, I
All
know it's
right.
December now. It's December
December
1st, but
1st.
not
Yeah.
there yet.
All right, fine. Let's see what we got for this game tonight, though. I just talked with Jonathan Von Tobel on his thoughts on this game. I think everyone is probably on the side of we should see a good one from the Patriots. They are they they have a 3-game lead right now. AFC's top seed. I haven't seen
Who, New
since.
England?
No. Hang on. 10 and
Denver's
2.
right there.
10 and 2. Yeah.
I think Denver is technically the one right now, right? I think I
Are
saw that
they?
yesterday. Yeah,
Yes, they
Denver
have
is
to
the
be.
one.
And then
They
if
have a
the Patriots
tiebreaker
win,
on best win percentage in common
yes.
games.
And then if Patriots win tonight, obviously that changes. This
And
was
the
this was
Patriots
my
have the bye next week.
my old notes. Yeah, the Patriots have the bye next week, and the Giants are actually the only team entering this game. Is the only team eliminated from the playoffs mathematically. So two teams on very different trajectories here to end the season. But let's start with the Patriots again. What are your expectations in this one? I know that a lot of people are waiting on Travion Henderson. This is probably one where they're playing Travion Henderson. They're playing Drake May. I know I've got both of them in different leagues. I see someone here. Where did it go? Oh, Manny. I'm down 20 points and I have Travion Henderson, Jackson Dart. My opponent has no more players. I think he can get there. 20 points?
Yeah, definitely. Even if we see Dart run less, they have taken some deep shots, and New England's a little vulnerable there. So I think Dart will do enough. And Henderson, again, has the good matchup because that left side of the offensive line is out with Will Campbell and Jared Wilson for the Patriots. Yep. So the Giants are very vulnerable against the run. So you probably will see them lean on the run a little bit more here.
Yeah, I think so too. And I know that on the other side, when we're looking at Jackson Dart, I still expect him. I know that the designed runs, right, are probably going to come down because that's something we talked about when he went out with that concussion. They fired their head coach. All this other stuff happened, but he was leading quarterbacks at the time in designed runs. And so I think that does come back down to earth a little bit here. But with Jackson Dart, Adam, you still know that that's part of his game. If he doesn't see what he likes, he's going to take off and run. It's just the idea of doing it safer, right? Don't do the Cam Scattaboo, lower your shoulder, put your head down, have a safe slide here and there. And that's what I think we get from him. But I still think that he's going to be a dual threat, a rushing threat on the ground for us in fantasy football. I just think the designed runs kind of come back down from what we've seen.
It's very interesting to watch. I think all eyes will be on that tonight because a lot of his value in fantasy is tied to what he's doing on the ground. He has 7 rushing touchdowns in 7 starts. And in 5 of those games, he has at least 54 rushing yards. I mean, that is a lot. Now, the 2 games he didn't, he had rushing touchdowns. He had 5 carries, 11 yards and a touchdown, 6 carries, 17 yards and a touchdown. So a lot is tied to what he does on the ground. And I'm interested to see how often he takes off because it is true. You could tell this guy, all right, we're not giving you design runs, but we know how things break down during a game and he sees a lane. It's your natural instincts. He's an athlete. He's going to take off. So I'm just interested to see how they devise that because they have nothing to play for and he's their franchise quarterback, they hope. So they want to keep him healthy and not expose him to another big hit, a potential concussion. Yeah. So they're going to have to ask him to pass a little bit more here. And again, he's had success this year as well, passing, but the running ability is a big part of his game for fantasy.
And against the Patriots, this is a team that you can do that on through the air. They're only 17th at stopping the pass. On the ground, though, they're second in the league against the run. So you know that if you're waiting and relying on Tyrone Tracy, I know that he's been hot, right? 23 touches, 130 plus yards, 16 plus fantasy points in consecutive games. But this is one where you might have to look around and say, this is a tougher team. So I know that he benefits from having the volume and maybe the run heavy offense during Jameis Winston's 2 starts, but you're going to see that change a little bit here. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Giants have played very competitive. They led against some of the top teams in football. They led against Denver, Chicago, Green Bay, Detroit. So they can keep this close.
Let's see if they can finish this game out. Who are you taking? Just say the Patriots.
Yeah, New England will win.
All right, there we go. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. FantasyLife.com is where you can go subscribe to that newsletter. Hopefully you have a great rest of your Monday. We're going to see you same time here tomorrow.